What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 29 of the single player Let's Play. And I realized something pretty dumb of me last episode. So I made the setup for picking up the items using the vacuum hopper and using the chest, and that's all great and dandy, except for the fact that the ranged item collector would have been even better. So you notice we've been getting a ton of ender pearls. We have 106 of them now. I should probably make a drawer for those. And as it happens, I don't have room for them. So we might have to figure out a plan because we're running out of space here. One of the things that I could possibly move, I'm not really sure. I don't know. I'll have to find something for that, I guess. But yeah, so I should have made a ranged collector. I don't know why I didn't, and I don't know why it didn't even come to my attention. I'm not sure how it missed so far from like my attention. So we're gonna go ahead and get ourselves a black quartz, and we'll get our iron casing and our ranged collector. And the GUI on this thing is pretty straightforward. It has a whitelist or blacklist. If you set it to a blacklist and empty, it'll pick everything up. And it has 6 slots that it picks up from, and it has a 6-block radius. So I think what that means, I just want to check if I have one, two, 3, 4, 5. If you can't guess, this is what the spawning floor looks like. If I drop something here, it's going to get picked up, yes, and here. Excellent. And so it's going to go into here. Now it says one of the downsides is the fact that it doesn't have a blacklist. I could care less, or rather that it doesn't auto output. I could care less. I've got conduits that are already pulling anyways, or rather not even conduits, I have an importer. So may as well just do this instead. This is how I'm going to solve my items from popping up outside of the range. Also makes it a little bit less annoying from having the conduit constantly in the way. So we're going to just pick up everything that we were doing here previously. And we will do the... In fact, I'm going to put the ranged collector here. Put the importer here. So the ranged collector, empty. There we go. It picked up everything. Let me just grab a few more cables. I'm going to need just a handful. So, in theory then, if this can pick up the cobblestone, there we go, then it's no longer full. Problem solved. Somewhat simplifies that, and also keeps from having skulls popping up and all over the place. Notice we have a ton of solidified experience as well. If I wanted to help boost this guy along here, because this is up to level 78, if I wanted to help, I could just start going through all of these experience levels, and there we go. But I like this. This is much more elegant. Alright, so I have just gotten done with a very large and successful mining trip, and I noticed something pretty peculiar. Notice something here? Anything at all? Yeah, my generators aren't running. They're all out of wood. Why is that, you may ask? Well, if you're out of wood, then that means you're obviously not getting any anywhere now, am I? Well, what happened is after my mining trip, I've, of course, been depositing ores this entire time, and the ores are getting sent up to the crusher, and the crusher is using all of the power that would normally be used to power the tree farm. So, as a result, I have a plan that's going to be sort of a solution to this problem. We are going to hook up the power that we made previously to the current thermoelectric generator setup that we have now is going to get changed down into, and let's see how this is doing. Yep, cool. Is going to get converted from this system to a new power system for the house. Then this system is going to get relocated again. I'll do it off camera because it'll be pretty boring. To help us power everything else, because at this point we have 12 water mills and it can't keep up. So yeah, I mean, it's understandable. We're asking a lot of our water mills right now, and I think we do get a little bit of power loss with all of these wires as well. So just a few things to consider, but I mean, definitely, if you can see here, the crusher's definitely not exactly happy. It's not processing at maximum speed, and definitely is not filling up its internal energy buffer either. But I did really well on resources for that trip, so it was definitely worth doing, but it has brought that to my attention. So let me see if I can... first of all, how are we doing on resources and stuff? We're doing very nicely on pretty much everything now. That's fantastic. So what we want to look into then is, essentially, we probably... How many red orchid seeds do we have? We have 11, so we can't do all of this, but we can start with hootch. So, we have our apple oak farm going pretty much all the time, so we're going to grab an exporter. In fact, we'll grab a few of these. And we're going to start making some hootch. So the hootch is going to run off of rotten flesh and... no, not rotten flesh. What am I thinking of? Hootch is going to be running off... Oh, that's right. I reloaded my texture, so it's not very happy. Sugar. Sugar and apples, or wheat, or seeds. Apples are pretty good. Potatoes are pretty much top-notch, though. But apples are just as good, and we're already getting an excess supply of them, which means we won't have to start farming something new. As for sugarcane, I am concerned that we're not going to get enough. So what I think is, depending on how we're looking on our supplies here for resin, we're never going to use any more than 1.6 thousand resin. I don't think we're ever going to need any more than that. So why don't we chop down the rubber wood here. And in fact, I'll lumber axe what I can. Just to help out with the EU generation a little bit, since everything is so jammed up currently. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying the progression of the Let's Play. I'm actually very happy with it. I really like playing in this world. I think we have a lot of cool stuff left to automate, so definitely very happy about the potential left, like I said, in this map. So, you know, just things to look forward to. Of course, if you have any suggestions for things that I should build, throw them my way. You guys know my mods. I've been attaching the mod list in the comments section of every episode. And so hopefully you guys have, if you've needed to look at it, you've had that available. So you can get an idea of what mods I have for your recommendations that you may make. And hopefully you guys have something, because I will eventually run out of ideas. I still have lots of stuff that I want to do. For example, I haven't made any of the Britannia armor, but that's actually the armor that I want to move to. Even though I'm using nano currently, I would like to move to some Terra Steel eventually, because I have not actually made it in a very long time. Believe it or not, even though the last Let's Play that I did was on Forge Serve, where I did use Terra Steel a lot, I, on Forge Serve currently, am not using Terra Steel at all. I've been using, actually, Quantum Armor, believe it or not. And so, with that being the case, it's just kind of been, I always look for a different flavor of stuff to do, so... Let me tear up all these saplings, because if I don't, then I'm just going to constantly, non-stop get wood from, or get trees growing, always. Because the way these saplings work is basically they'll sit around and wait, and once it's after a certain time, they'll check with some frequency, and if it's met that frequency, then it'll grow as immediately. So basically it stores up. It's not based on a random chance. It actually stores up like the next growth tick that it should be trying to grow at. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab all of them. But you'll see, I mean, we've gotten a handful of apples. In fact, let's see. By the time we're all said and done with just those few trees, we've gotten 24 apples. I think that's plenty to be able to reliably use them for... hootch. Sorry, getting a little bit distracted here. Now somewhere, I think it's down here, but I'm not certain. Why don't I... and see... Somewhere I know I have a crafter for planks, right? Or is that closer now? Where am I crafting planks and outputting planks? I know I'm doing that somewhere with a item conduit going to it. Maybe that's what this is? Sorry guys, it's been a while since we've set this up, hasn't it? I mean, it's definitely been pretty fun though. We'll do blink. Not blink, conjure light. Where am I? That's where I was auto-crafting. Dang it, and I just broke that. That's a pain. I didn't even mean to break that. That's the biggest pain. So we'll put that back in there. At least I think all of the side configuration stuff should be set up right. Yeah, good, good. So we'll continue to tell you to craft. So that should be fine now. And so as a result, we should be getting some power. Yeah, here we go. We have one of our generators running, and soon it'll probably be two. Yep, there we go. Just things to help it out a little bit, because I had some excess wood from that. So we're going to redesign this farm a little bit. Not a whole lot, but just enough to accommodate for the fact that we're definitely going to need sugar. Let me go and fill this in real quick. You know what? Actually, I'm going to leave this. I'm going to leave this just how it is, because I would like to have the walking space. It's one thing that I've actually kind of changed recently is I'm trying to keep more walkable cabling space now. More than I used to, at least. So, just something to think about. Something else I'm going to do, I think, is... Let me blink up here. I already have 2 buckets for water, so that's actually very helpful. Why don't we slap them over here? Okay, maybe not quite right there. Maybe here. And we'll do that. And I should refill one of my buckets. I'm going to keep the other one. So what I think we should do, let me come over here and grab some of our sugarcane. Because we have some, but we don't really have enough, honestly. We don't. It's just kind of how things are. So let me get... we'll do 2 stacks of sand. I don't think I'm going to need 2 stacks of sand, to be honest with you. And we're just going to go ahead and tell you, forget about the rubber tree saplings. Put in cactus. And forget about putting down any cactus either, because I'm going to basically just redo all of this. The way I had this before was pretty terrible, so we're just going to start completely from scratch. Because that wasn't even the most efficient design for a sugarcane farm, and at this point, I believe when I put this all together, I said that I wasn't concerned about efficiency, and I was not, and for the time, that was fine. But now, I am concerned about efficiency, because we're going to need basically the wisest use of this as possible. So I'm gonna do the typical, like, highly efficient setup that you can do with all of the, what's the word I'm looking for? Let's see. I'm gonna do the most efficient setup you can with sugarcane farming, because it's kind of important for us right now. I'm gonna fill all this in first. And, in fact, I'm just gonna take all of the cactus out of here. Except for one, because it won't plant this last one, which is what I want. And the reason I'm putting cactus in there is because it doesn't care if it's cactus or sugarcane in the field, and so I'll just keep both, because you can kind of vary it, and I don't need nearly as much cactus as I was farming previously, but I definitely could use some. So one thing that I had thought about changing up was I don't like how I've had this wiring here. So I'm going to drop this down a level while everything is broken anyways. By broken, I of course mean like locked up because I'm out of energy. Because there's already going to be an energy conduit here anyways at that point, so it doesn't cost me any more energy conduit. That being said, I clearly lost one at some point because I don't have enough, but I should. There's nothing... Oh, no, I didn't account for the one down. Whoops. Well, let's just go get that real quick. Why did I right-click on that? I have no idea why I right-clicked on that. That was silly. we'll grab a conduit, and let me go ahead and grab a few stacks of wood, just to, well, I don't need those. Just to go and give back to my auto processing. Just to make sure that the furnaces and stuff can keep up. Very well. So, there we go. Now that we have this all lowered, we can put you there. Oh, it actually has some power now. Look at that. Fine by me. So we will go ahead and place down our line. Whoops. Place down our line of sand there. We're gonna do. Whoops. I'm gonna proceed to mess up a few more times. Not to worry. And like I said, no cactus is being planted because it only has one in there, and it won't plant its last one. So this gives us some time to settle down and just kind of relax and work on this at our own leisure. Because we're gonna want, I probably should have put this over here actually. Well, hindsight is 20/20. So, if we have a water source block here, then we'll need another one here. No, one, two, yeah, here. And you can literally repeat this pattern facing any direction you like. So just go 1, 2, 1, and that's where you'll need to place your next water source. This is a vanilla thing. You can obviously do this without any mods. But this is how you get, or at least last time I checked, I haven't kept up with vanilla in so incredibly long. Like, I keep up with it some, but like not necessarily enough to be fully aware of some of the mechanics. Like I just recently discovered the other day that you can do sand generators again. But this works facing any direction. So if I go 1, 2, 1 here, then this is still just fine. Because you're going to have the same tiling effect. So, let's see, 1, 2, 1 there. The reason we're going to still have cactus over here, or the way we're going to still have cactus over here, is that as it happens, we're going to have a few spaces where we're not going to be able to have a water block adjacent. So, instead of just sacrificing that, we're going to fill that space in with cactus instead, since we're using sand either way. Of course, I could just use grass for this part of the farm. I don't know. I like the idea of having sugarcane planted on sand. Ooh, goodness. Did not do my words very well there. I don't know why I've always liked sugarcane on sand. I just do. It's not a new, or rather, it's not an old mechanic. It's actually like a, I think they added it in Minecraft Beta 1.8. So I started playing in 1.7.3. In fact, I did some YouTube videos back then, but I think I've since deleted them. It's definitely for your sake that I deleted them, because they were pretty garbage. Even my ones that are still up are pretty freaking terrible. I think my oldest one is a mob or a duplication bug tutorial for vanilla Minecraft back in the day. Let me grab the sleeping bag and then we'll start planting our sugarcane. But yeah, my old videos definitely were pretty laughable. So you'll notice that at this point, because of the way we have everything set up, we can place sugarcane down in almost all of these places. We can't place one down there, but we can place one down pretty much everywhere else. And like I said, places where we cannot place one down, we will be using cactus if we can. There is one exception to this. There is one spot that I have found that is not going to like having a cactus, I think. I'll explain why once we get that far. There, that's definitely a little more dense on the sugarcane, don't you guys think? So now we can start plopping down our cactus. Now we can do these on the outside here, no problem. The place that we're going to run into a problem for sure, though, is if I'm going to try it. I don't know that this is going to be good. I'm going to put one here, and I'm going to put one here. But I'm almost certain that those two are going to become unplanted at some point. And the reason is because when a tree is going to grow here, it's going to invalidate that slot of cactus growth. But we will see. We will definitely see. Go and return the cactus. And I think we should be good to go at this point. So now if I just grabbed some bone meal, I can put some of this stuff away at this point. I'm not going to be using much of it. If I grabbed some bone meal, I might have some. I do. As you guys know, VTweaks adds the feature to be able to bone meal stuff, so that's important. And we can just go ahead and do that. Sorry, I don't like having an inventory full of stuff that has a proper place. So if I bone meal these, then you should see, once we get some power back, which it looks like we're already out of it again for some reason. Whenever we do get more later down the road, we will hopefully be in luck. Hopefully. So I'm just going to help it out here just for fun. I mean, I like bone mealing these since I can. So might as well. It won't grow past 4 blocks anyways, so who cares? Or 3 blocks, rather. I did keep the growing mechanics vanilla. So there we go. We have definitely a more substantial supply of sugarcane. This should be enough to keep up with everything we need. I've found that it will. So yeah. You didn't escape. I did leave 1 sheep or 2 sheep around loose. I was going to say, how could you possibly have escaped? I don't believe he did. So, alright, let me see if we have what we need to move on at this point. So, now if we do that, we're going to need probably 2 of these. And so this will just get some of the tedious crafting done for me, because the vat recipe kind of gets to be a pain in the butt. And we can do the same thing for the combustion generator, so let me do that real quick, because we're going to need a few of those too. Alright, so we should be able to request a few of these combustion generators now as well. I'm going to start with 3. That should be plenty. What are we missing? Electrical steel. Well, that makes sense. I did not teach my system how to make electrical steel yet. I certainly plan to, because it gets to be quite tedious. But that's alright. And since it's nighttime, I'll go ahead and sleep just to keep mobs from bothering us, because we don't need mob drops anymore. Remember how we used to have to go farming for Endermen all the time? I don't think that's going to be a problem anymore. In fact, I got my 2 Ender Lilies and picked them back up, because we don't really use them anymore. How much steel do we have? We have electrical steel. We have 10, so I think for the combustion generators, we'll just need a little bit more. Because I want to get 3 of these. Start. And this is just going to handle all of the tedious mid-crafting calculations for me. Hooray! Now if I grab some conduits, I don't really have a lot of conduits, but I could. We're going to need some ender fluid conduits for this. This is kind of the reason, one of the reasons why it's good to have a good supply of ender pearls, is because we're going to want some ender fluid conduits. Let me grab, what the heck, well, we're doing okay on gold, so let me grab a full stack, and I'm going to take another cut off camera, and we're just going to go ahead and smelt up the last of these alloys and a few others, because it's going to take a little while. Alright, so got everything I think I need for some ender fluid conduits. I'm making probably way more than I need, but I don't really care. We're doing pretty well on resources at this point. And so we're going to grab some of these enhanced energy conduits, and I think I'm good on item conduits and filters and such. I do want to get another item buffer. We might even need 2, but we'll see. We've got our exporter, so that's great. We're going to need an upgrade, another crafting upgrade. I should possibly just think about teaching this to my system, so why don't we do that real quick? I'll do that one on camera. I've been cutting to do the other ones, but this one would be worth showing real quick. So we'll just do this for crafting table, and then if I drop you into here, we'll just shift all of these over one. I like to keep these in order. And then if I tell you to do crafting table plus upgrade plus redstone, I believe it is, right? Yep. So we'll tell you that these three, it doesn't matter if you do the picture in the right order. Wow, one of these is completely full. Then we will get a crafting upgrade. I see us using these a lot in the future, so we might as well just go ahead. And we'll put that there. The only other upgrade that I would like to teach is, we'll just quickly teach it the speed upgrades too, because those are not that bad to make, since it's just a plain upgrade and some sugar. So we'll just go ahead and clear this, and we'll do upgrade, 2 pieces of sugar. It is 2 pieces of sugar, isn't it? Oh, it's a piece of sugar and a piece of redstone. I thought it was 2 pieces of sugar. Whoops. So we'll fix that here. Oh, it should also be 1 piece, 1 stack. And that will get you speed upgrade. We'll have to get another pattern. I'll just stick a handful of these in here. And that will be our last slot, but I think these are the most important ones. All the other ones we can pretty much get ourselves. Very cool. So we have 1 crafting upgrade. That'll be for the sugar. We should probably just go ahead and get an extra buffer. Just for the sake of it. We'll have 1 for each of our items. Because we'll have a buffer for apples and we'll have a buffer for sugar. We'll keep them separated this time. So let's hop on down and get going. Oh, you know, something else that we will probably need, we'll need some cables, but we're also going to need some universal cells. And the reason is because this is going to vastly simplify the entire setup by means of, well, you'll see, I guess. So we'll go ahead and put down our combustion generators here. We aren't going to have to do anything with them yet, but we will eventually be doing some fun stuff, so just stay tuned. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to set up our vats here and here, and we will work underneath them because we have the space. So I am going to, whoops. Well, no telling where I am at this point, so let's just go all the way up. Thanks a lot. Sigh, you screwed it up again. It happens every time. So basically to get this set up, I'm gonna move some of this stuff around. Let's see, the item buffer is here and we're doing good on our various items. That's pretty cool. And we'll keep the sugar with us, but I'm going to break it and actually move it right here. And I'm going to do the same with the export card, or the exporter that we had there. Just because I want to keep things looking nice and balanced and symmetrical, I guess is really more my concern. Because we're going to have 3 of these now. We're going to have this and this. And so what we're going to do from here, since we have our vat, let's see, are you inserting on green? So we'll extract on green, always active, just like before. And then we will tell you once again, exporter, export sugar and rotten flesh. And feel free to craft the sugar. We know this much already. So basically what I'm going to do differently here is I'm going to have another one of you here. We're going to tell you to export sugar. And we'll have a third one here, and we will tell you to export apples once I go and get some. Fortunately, we have a grid down here, so getting apples is not a big deal. So we told you sugar with the crafting upgrade. We'll tell you apples, so we're going to start getting apples down here pretty quickly. We don't have to put speed upgrades on these. It's not going to be necessary. And so what I can do now, just for the sake of aesthetic, is we're going to tell these two to extract on white, always active. Because we want these to insert on, actually, hang on, it was that I didn't want connecting, it was this that I did want connecting for the sake of aesthetic. That way, if we look here, I'll show you real quick. We'll go to item conduit only mode, and you'll see here that the conduits are only connecting like up and across once here. It's not really a big deal. I just prefer things looking nice. So we said extract white always active, so now we'll tell you to insert on white, and you're going to start getting sugar and apples. It's going to try to get rotten flesh at first because it's going to be at green, but we don't want that, of course. So we will just have to fix that ourselves. Now this is also going to need water as our input, so we're going to have to change this around a little bit. Not a huge deal, just something that we need to do. We do need to tweak. So previously we had done pressurized fluid conduits here, and that's just fine. But we're going to need to change these out for ender fluid conduits because we're going to need to output fluids from another side. So what we'll do, or from the same side rather. So what we'll do is get rid of all of these, and we will use ender fluid conduits, and these will also need power. I think I accidentally disconnected my power previously, but these are all going to need some power, and we'll hook up our ender fluid conduits. And this is why the universal fluid cells were important, is because we want one for water. I hooked all of you up to power, correct? Yes, good. And so now you all seem to have ender fluid conduits. So with the ender fluid conduits, they have an interesting interface. You can actually filter fluids. So we're going to tell this guy, this is our vat for nutrient distillation, so we're going to tell it to insert only water, because everything else we're extracting from the top, or extracting to the top, rather. And we will go ahead and fill the space in between to get our conduits connected. So now, if we tell this guy to extract, always active, all of our vats should begin filling. And you will see we're already producing hooch, but this is only part of the equation here, because you see we also need to consider the fact that whatever it produces here, which, like I said, we're going to be producing hooch, but whatever it produces, we need to make sure that we have sort of a bit of a handle on where it goes. So that's why I have the second universal fluid cell. So we've told you to insert fluid, insert whitelist water, and we'll tell you to, on the insert page, whitelist water. Now on the extract page, we can tell it to do whatever we want, but we have hooch. I'm just waiting for enough to pick up. And if we do, let's see, go back to this tab. On extract, we will do hooch and always active. And so now these are going to drain a little bit, but not much because there's nowhere for this to go yet. So we'll go back to this, hooch, auto extract. And so now, once we give the hooch a place to go, which give me just a minute and we certainly will, then we'll be good to go. So at this point, we have our combustion generators over here. Each one of these is going to produce 60 RF per tick. And while that does not sound impressive, 60 RF per tick definitely isn't necessarily impressive, but you have to consider this. We will be setting these to insert, by the way. But you have to consider this. This is only part of the solution. There's actually more to it than this. We're going to be having some more midway processing, if that makes any sense. Is it? No, that was right. Why didn't you copy? Dang it, and now I don't have any hooch. Oh, you dingus. Why didn't that copy? Whatever. Hooch and water? Well, I can't really rush the water. You don't ever want to rush getting the water out of there because you can potentially mess up your system. But yeah, so remember that this is just a midway point. So we'll have, eventually, once I get some redstone set up, we're going to have this set to actually help us produce... what is it I'm looking for? It's a frickin' rocket fuel. That's the word I was looking for. Goodness, my brain just is not having it today. Why don't you copy? Hello? Maybe these just don't copy those. I don't know. So we're going to insert water and universal cell. Insert water, universal cell. And we are going to run our line all the way over there. So let me dig up a little area, and or dig up a line rather, and I'll be back once it's done. Alright, I'm a man with a plan. I've already hooked up the energy and fluid conduits this entire way, so we should start producing water from our water source over here, which we shouldn't need another one of as long as... The problem is you don't want to pull from two spots at the same time. So as long as I'm only pulling from this one spot, we won't actually ever drain the vat, or rather the reservoir. You can, however, drain your reservoir if you're not being careful. So be careful. Nonetheless, we are actually producing an excess of power at this point. And the reason is because, well, quite frankly, we aren't using all that much power. So check this out. This is really cool. If I break this, of course, that'll get me a ton of cables, but that's fine because I'm going to have to clean up a lot of work here anyways. If I run upstairs now, and let's say I think this is already full, isn't it? Yeah, it's kind of hard to check anything. But if I started, oh, here we go. I have an idea. How about if I do sandstone? If I start processing that, you're going to see that we're getting 0 loss. And we're not producing power the other means, of course, because we just broke the connection. So now we are running on a fully sustainable setup here. You'll see these are decreasing a little bit because I'm running that machine now, but as soon as that machine's done running, it'll be right back up in where it was again. So this is definitely a decent success. Of course, like I said, and I have said, and I will continue to say, this is not done. These combustion generators are going to be eventually running off of rocket fuel instead of hooch, because you can see we're doing 60 RF per tick, whereas rocket fuel is 160 RF per tick, I think. Let me check that. Yeah, 160 RF per tick. So that's 100 extra RF per tick. That's over double of what we're already producing. So it'd definitely be a lot more helpful to have all of that set up. But you can see our output tank of hooch here is doing pretty good on both of these, and we will continue to produce more and more and more. And this is now running off of the very power that it's producing, but it's using a whole lot less than I'm actually using. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up some of the wiring, because at this point I have wire going up, over, across, up, then back down, then over, then back across. So I'm going to get rid of the upper wire so that it only goes down, over, and then straight up. And I'm going to move this up to the immersive engineering stuff, or at least to go power the immersive engineering stuff. I don't know where I'm going to move it to yet, but I'm going to do it all off camera because you guys don't really need to see it. What you guys did need to see, I've already shown. So hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I certainly had a blast making it. I still have hooch in universal cells, which kind of sucks because I can't do anything with it. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next episode.